Thank you, Senator Van Hollen. And Ambassador Verma, great to see you again.
Sir.
There is a vote ongoing. I'll ask questions, and then I don't believe Senator Risch has any follow-up, so we'll likely then conclude unless another member comes in. I want to ask you about Havana syndrome. We had a hearing in May around State Department reauthorization, and the then Deputy Secretary Brian McKeon testified a bit about this. He reported that the DNI commissioned reporting showed a number of cases and that they were explained by our environmental and health factors, but many still didn't have an explanation. The U.S. government was still unable to attribute incidents to a particular actor. If confirmed, do you commit to ensuring that the department fully supports the provision of all appropriate health care and reasonable accommodations to State Department employees who are suffering from Havana syndrome symptoms incurred while serving the country?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Great. Thank you, Ambassador Verma. I want to ask you a question about the workforce. A sizable percentage of the State Department workforce live in Virginia. They're constituents of mine. The OPM does an annual employment survey. It's the FEVS, Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey. And for many, many years, the State Department, of the 17 large agencies that tend to be surveyed again and again, ranked near the top in terms of job satisfaction. But in recent years, and the most recent FEVS we have is from 2021, the job satisfaction in the department has dramatically declined. What would you do in your role, if confirmed, to try to really work on these internal morale issues and return to the State Department to the place that it's traditionally been?
Yeah, it's really important, Senator. I think trying to get at the root, like what is driving that attitude, what's happening that people feel that way. And there's been a number of surveys. There's been some early feedback, and Secretary, I think, has set out really in a focused way. I mean, the modernization agenda is really about taking care of the workforce and making sure they have what they need. So do they also have our benefits competitive? Do we have the right child care subsidy? Do we have the right kind of agility in our workforce compared to other federal agencies? These are all things that we're looking at. I still think the mission of the department attracts the best people from around the country, but we got to make sure we're actually living up to our commitment to them to make sure they're getting the best of what they need. I really, again, my experience overseas helped me see what people need and how they live and how it works in practice day to day. And I think we do an exceptionally good job of taking care of people around the world, but we've got to do better. We want to be at the top part of that survey and not lagging behind.
Just to share an insight with you, when I travel abroad, I usually try to have a meeting with first or second or FSO State Department folks at embassies without the ambassador there,
right,
without any supervisor there. And I ask them this question. You obtained a very difficult job to get. I mean, to get to be a Foreign Service officer, incredibly difficult to get there. What will be the determinant about whether you make this a career or make this a shorter term, job? And I hardly have to say another word, and then I just listen for about 90 minutes. And I will say a lot of the discussion tends to revolve around we're not given enough latitude to make decisions. Somebody once said to me, I had to pass a security vetting that was super intense, but if I want to requisition 5 pencils, they treat me like I'm going to steal one of them, and I've got to account for all 5 and what I'm going to do with them. So you've been there, you've been an ambassador, but you've also worked your way up. You understand the sacrifices and the frustrations. I think you'd be uniquely situated to deal with this, but I would just encourage you to. And kind of additionally, the surveys tend to show that you're doing, the State Department's efforts around recruiting are okay, but maybe you're falling short on the retention side.
Right.
So I would urge you to focus on that. Last thing I know, as far as I know, Congress has not yet been provided the 2022 FEVS results. Do you have any idea about when we might see those?
I don't, but I'll definitely find out and come back to you
if you
as quickly
could,
as possible.
That would be great.
Senator, your point on retention is really important, and there is a retention working group that's focused on this, coming out with a number of recommendations and already taken some steps, but training's a big part of it, making sure people have a pathway to promotion. There's a lot that'll go into retention, but it's not just recruiting great people, it's making sure they stay.
I think you're uniquely qualified to help us get better at this.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.